Welcome to the last session of day 4, and I hope the entire sessions today is focused on emotional intelligence, well-being, and all. And I believe these sessions are all the more important in today's trying times, difficult times that we are facing due to the pandemic, the lockdown. We know we all are, in many ways it has affected us. It has affected every one of us. Some it has been to a greater extent, and to some a lesser extent, but still everyone has suffered in some one way or the other. Okay, so it is very apt. Today's session is also very apt when we think about that. And today it is focused on well-being. And to handle that session, we have with us a very eminent person, Dr. Jeeresh K. Ilyas, who is a licensed clinical psychologist. So it is a privilege to have you, sir, and it's a pleasure that you are, taking time off to handle the session for our participants. So Dr. Jeeresh is a licensed clinical psychologist with over 10 years of experience in the field of mental health. He completed his diploma in clinical psychology from Trivandrum Medical College and secured his MPhil in clinical psychology and PhD degrees from National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, Bangalore. Dr. Jeeresh has worked as a senior research fellow and research associate in ICMR and ICSSR projects, which aimed at promotion of mental health among college youth. He has delivered many workshops and mental health literacy talks to various crowds. He has worked as consultant clinical psychologist in various hospitals and involved in teaching MPhil and doctoral level students of clinical psychology. Currently, Dr. Jeeresh is serving the position of Head of Department of Psychology at PSGR Krishnamal College for Women, Pilamedu, Coimbatore. Welcome, Dr. Jeeresh.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
It's all yours, and
okay.
Happy learning, participants.
Yeah, thank you. So good afternoon, all. So that was a wonderful introduction which Vandana ma'am has given about the topic which I'm going to discuss today. It's on mental health and happiness. If you ask me, I'm very happy that we have kept a topic like this. Especially the title is making a distinction between mental health and happiness. Many times people think that happiness is mental health. They use it interchangeably or they equate mental health into happiness. But in actual life, if you look at happiness, happiness is something which everyone will have different meaning. So there is no as such a uniform meaning when it comes to happiness. And happiness is only one component of mental health. So that way, I felt really happy when I received the invitation letter telling that Dr. Jeeresh, you would be handling a session on mental health and happiness. So that's really nice. And I'm also happy that a lot of, I think we have around 60 participants. So you have taken your time off from your work and you have joined for that. So that's also great
around
thing.
120 participants usually participate. They will join in slowly.
Okay, no problem, man. No problem. Okay. And most of you, all of you know that, okay, there are a lot of challenges when we talk through online and when we have sessions through online, how difficult it is. You would have experienced that with the students, and when you are giving lectures, when you are conducting classes. So the same kind of challenges will be there. But then we will try and make it as active as possible. So I would request all of you to respond. I would request all of you to contribute, add, ask questions, challenge. Okay. So that way, let us make it a little more active. That will be great. So to start with, I thought I'll just ask you people, where do you stand? Do you can see the smileys, I guess, all of you?
Light yellow.
Okay, light yellow. Great. If anybody wants to put in the chat also, not a problem. but if you can talk using the mic, that's also, you're welcome to do that. Red, okay.
Green, light green.
Okay, light green, okay. Light green.
Yellow.
Yellow, okay.
Mango color.
Hmm. I'm a little poor in the color naming, so I guess it is from the left.
Orange, something to close to orange.
Yeah. So the second one
Just
from
before angry, I guess.
Yeah,
okay,
angry.
okay. So the second one from the left. Okay. Green. Okay, great. So green, red, great. You have yellow, orange. That's really nice. So this is just to know. Okay, it changes from red to green depending upon the situation. Yes, true. That's actually a wonderful thing about our emotions, right? We generally have a scope for moving from one end to the other. So it's not necessarily always we are happy. We can always have a scope for moving to sadness and from sadness back to happiness. That's really nice. And when once I was presenting this, I was presenting or was talking about mental health, and I just showed this slide, and I asked many people. So some of them told that they are more towards left, some of them told they are more towards right. But there was one guy, he didn't respond at all. So I was very curious what happened. He is not responding to anyone, whether it is left or right. Then I asked him, excuse me, sir, so what is the reason, or where do you stand? Why you are not lifting your hand raising your hand when I asked? Then he told that there is the option which I wanted, you have not given. Okay, so this is what he told. Then I asked him, so what is the option? After listening to him, I made an option, and this is the option which I gave, which he was telling. Okay, what is this, Smiley?
Yawning, we are yawning.
Yawning.
Yeah. Because what happens generally when we have a heavy lunch. Yeah, boring. Okay, when we have a heavy lunch and afternoon time, it becomes very difficult for us to focus. So he was telling like, you don't make me much more difficult. Don't put me into a difficult situation right now. I am feeling sleepy. This was the option he was asking for. So I don't know how many of you will choose this option. But anyway, I hope all of you are alert. Yeah, I think a few of you have told that it is right. So great. I was able to include your option. Okay, that's really nice. Okay, so somehow we'll try and see that we are not going to yawn or we are not going to sleep. Let us try and make it interactive, and I would request all of you to interact more. Now again, I have a question. So don't think that I will keep on asking you questions and I won't be talking. Okay. But as a starter, I just wanted to ask you, generally in what direction people put more efforts? Do they put more efforts for not moving in the left direction? That is, if they are happy, they put more effort not to go down and become more like a neutral or a sad mood. So do they put more effort in that direction, or do they put more efforts in the direction, right side direction? That is, if they are happy, they want to become more happy, or they want to become happier. So what is your understanding? Generally, how is it?
Sir, I
I
believe
think
that's a very good afternoon, and thank you for touching upon this wonderful topic.
Yes.
And I believe, sir, if I have to take my example, I find that moving to right side is much easier for me because
Okay.
it takes less stress, it takes less effort, and life becomes so easy when you mitigate all these small things in your life. But when I move to the left side to be more serious and to be more, worried and sad, it takes the whole day to think about that issue. So if
Okay.
might be for me, the happiness is for a short time, but it is much easy to maintain that short
Okay.
period.
Okay. Okay. So if I understood correctly, ma'am, you don't need much effort to move to the sad phase. Is that what you were telling?
No,
Or
I don't take much effort to move to the happy space, sir, the
happy
green
phase?
side.
Okay. 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 So it takes a lot of effort for you to go down in the left direction, which is the sadness direction, right?
Right, sir. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Absolutely right, sir.
Great. Great. Any other response? Okay. So one madam has messaged that effort is in right direction, but situation is reverse that many times. Okay. Yeah. It happens, right? We put a lot of effort to become happier, but doesn't need much difficulty, or doesn't need much effort to go back and fall back into a state of sadness or anything. Okay, I understood. Anybody else?
Moving in a direction that leads to positivity.
Okay, this is what generally people do, or that you do.
We also do.
Okay. So moving more towards that right side, where the option of becoming happy is something which all of us do. But one madam was responding that it requires a lot of effort to move to that side, but to move back or fall back into the sad phase, it doesn't take much effort or much time. Do you agree with that? Is it that people fall back into sadness or negative side very fast?
Yes, sir. Yes.
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 So I guess most of us will agree that falling back into the negative side is not really a difficult thing. It is very easy. Whereas to become or to make ourselves happier becomes a little more effortful, and it takes a little more energy from our side. Okay, so this is, I think all of us are in a common page when it comes to this understanding. And what can be the reason that we are so attracted to these negative things, or we tend to focus more on negative things in our life?
The past emotions.
Past emotions. Very good, ma'am. Yes, the past experiences and the already pent up emotion which we have not expressed. Yes, you're right.
And people make more efforts to prove worthy themselves,
Okay.
and also to be productive in life,
Okay.
also to get some position or to prove the best
Okay. Okay.
among many.
Okay. So that becomes more of a constant struggle. Is that what you meant, sir?
Yes, sir.
No. So does that become a struggle, or that is smooth, that process?
So please repeat the question.
No, the process of standing out or proving, is it a smooth process, or is it more of a struggling process?
Sir, most commonly it will be a struggling one only many times, because
Okay.
our path will not be what you call full of flowers.
Okay.
So the path what you take, we have to have little struggle will be there. Depends
Okay.
upon the situation, the organization, the circumstances, environment, all that matters.
Okay. So depending on the situation, environment,
Yeah,
also.
the situation,
Yeah.
all that matters.
I would like to bring your attention to one more a different kind of reason why human beings are tending or has a tendency to look at the negative side of life more. I'm not telling we are not looking at the positive side, but negatives catch our attention very fast. One reason is the evolution. Okay, there is an evolutionary reason behind that. So all of us know that our ancestors, we used to be in the jungle, and our ancestors used to go for hunting. Okay, what happens is that in the jungle or in the forest, when they go for hunting, there were a lot of dangers around them. So their mere survival itself was always questioned, and the mere survival itself was a major effort for them. So evolutionary wise itself, our brain was programmed to see that things are in right place. We are not in danger. So what happened is that our ancestors used to scan their environment always for threat and dangers. Always they were looking for the negative around the environment because they want to survive. But what happened is that we moved from forest. Now we moved to maybe Fun Mall. Fun Mall is a common, it's a mall nearby. We have moved into concrete buildings. We have moved into very good four walls, which is protecting us. Still, our brain is not learning that or not getting rewired so that we still continue to think that we should always a danger around us from which we need to survive. So this is one of the reasons we tend to focus more on the negative things and less on the positive things. Okay, this is what generally happens. Okay, another thing, culturally we are programmed. Culturally we are programmed to look at more of the negative side rather than the positive side. I'll give you an example. For example, when we, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes, you're audible. You're
Yeah,
audible.
sorry, in between I lost
Yes,
connection.
yes, in between for a few seconds, 1 or 2 seconds.
Okay,
That's
okay, 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 okay. So I still remember from my own experience. This is like when I was studying in my 8th, 9th, 10th class. So that time I used to, all of you know that when we after the exam we get marks, right? We get progress cards. So sometimes I used to get progress cards. In that, marks used to be like somebody's mic is on, I guess. Yeah. So sometimes I used to get marks with wings. Have you heard about that? Marks with wings. Anyone? Because all of you are teachers, I guess. Marks with wings. Have you heard about?
Excellent marks.
Okay. I wish, ma'am. I wish I was getting excellent marks in certain subjects. So unfortunately, I used to tell that if there are chemistry teachers, please forgive me. I used to tell them that generally, at least I learned how to balance my life, but I still don't know how to balance an equation in the chemistry. Okay, this is what I used to tell. It was so difficult for me. Chemistry was so difficult for me. It's my problem only. So it was very difficult for me, and I used to get single digit marks. And what happens is that single digit marks, why do we call it as marks with wings? Because in the single digit marks in the progress card, when I get, so for example, I'm getting 8. Okay, so 8 will be written like this. There is a chance, the teachers are brilliant and clever. They know that guys like me may add 1 digit this side or this side and get the signature from my father or my mother. Okay. So what they do is that after putting an 8, they put 1 hyphen here and hyphen here. So it will look almost like a bird only. If you put a beak and an eye, it will look like a bird. The reason is that to avoid we manipulating the progress card. And after getting the progress card, I go home. I'll be showing my progress card. What do you think? Which mark they will be looking at first?
The least man.
Sorry?
Least man.
Least mark. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the first attention for them, it goes to my marks with wings. Okay. Rather than the subjects which I am doing already good. There are many other subjects I was doing really well, but there are a few subjects I was doing not very well. Okay. And they catch me on those marks only. Don't think that my parents are villains. They are very good parents. Okay. This is generally what happens in our culture. What happens is that we also culturally get tuned that we need to always fix our weaknesses or always look for our negatives and try to resolve the negatives. This is what generally we are taught. We are not taught, or we are hardly taught, that there is a scope for improvement. We are always like, okay, how are you doing? Fine, I'm okay. We become very much comfortable with okay and fine. We become very much comfortable with good. Whereas we have an option of moving to great. We have an option of just telling fine instead of fine. We have an option of telling that I feel good, I feel great. So such kind of things we are not doing, because generally, culturally also, we think that we should always get caught up with our weaknesses, and we need to overcome our weaknesses rather than looking at our strengths. Our strengths sometimes we ignore, and strength is something which always gives us a lot of happiness and energy. Okay, so this is one major thing which happens. Another thing, all of you know that positivity is taken for granted, right? If you are a good teacher, people will tell that, yeah, you are a teacher, good teacher, fine, that is fine, because that's what you are supposed to do. Your management will not come and tell every time that, oh, you are a good teacher, you are a good teacher. Whereas if your quality comes down, suddenly they will send you memos, they will send you emails, they will take a feedback, they will give you a feedback telling that, no, you are not doing great, Jeeresh. Whereas if I do good, sometimes they ignore it. Okay, I'm not talking about my management, I'm just generally talking about it. Okay, because we think that positivity is something which is taken for granted. And okay, ma'am. So I think we both relate in the experiences. Okay, thank you for that response. Okay, so positivity is something which is taken for granted. We think that positivity is normal and we don't have to do anything. That is where exactly we talk about mental health is something which needs to be cultivated. It will not come just like that. Whereas a negativity will catch your attention automatically, because you are wired like that, your brain is wired like that, your culture is telling that. Okay, your people around you tell that it is the normal thing, whereas negativity catches our attention very fast. And today I just brought this issue. Right now, all of us are here to discuss about mental health. So I'm telling that we need to have a paradigm shift. All this while we would have been looking at our weaknesses, and we were trying to resolve our weaknesses or overcome our weaknesses. Now we may have to find some time to cultivate our strength, use our strength, and cultivate our mental health. So given this is something from the title I was thinking. Generally, all of us know, right? If we tell that what is the formula? Okay, so this is what a general question our students will be asking. Okay, so tell us the formula. That is the easiest way. Just tell us the formula. Okay, so this is the formula for happiness. The happiness formula says that S plus C plus V. Okay. I'm not going to discuss more about it because we have other things too. Basic idea is that S means our set point. Set point means all of us are biologically, we have a range for experiencing emotion. I may be having a range of this much of experiencing positive emotions, whereas another person may have this much, another may have this much. So biologically, I am brought up, or not brought up. Biologically, I am born with a limitation that I can experience positive emotions within this range only. Whereas another person, it may be this much. Okay, so that is called as set point. Another thing is about circumstances. We always tell that, oh, what to do? I am caught up here. If I was in a different place, I would have been happy, right? Some of us may be telling at times, or if I had a car, which is not the one which I have right now, it is a small one with 4 people, you just have to squeeze in. When one more person, extra person enters, the other person goes out. Okay, falls out of the car. No, if I had a bigger one, I would have been happy. So my circumstance is not really good. That's the reason I'm not happy. And in fact, if we take both these together, the set point and the C, circumstance, it only makes 60% of our happiness, whereas 40% of our happiness lies in what kind of choices we make, what kind of voluntary actions we do. That determines our happiness. Yes, of course, set point is something which is very difficult to change. We have very limited scope for changing it. For example, people born with a trait called, we call it as neuroticism. They tend to have more experiences of negative emotions, and they tend to have intense emotion, intense severity of emotion also. Maybe for me, if one situation happens, I may feel this much, but the same situation may make my brother feel this much, because they tend to experience emotions in an intensive way. That is because of the neuroticism trait they have. Okay, so such kind of traits and all will be a little difficult to change, but still we have scope. But more effort and more time if you put on this week, the voluntary actions, that can make you much more happier, or you can have more mental health well-being. So can you just respond in your chat? What do you do to make yourself feel a little happy in your life? What makes you happy? Appreciations, yes. Appreciations can make us happy. What else make you, or what do you do to make yourself feel good? Okay, let me just put that in that way. Feel good. Okay, traveling, very good. Traveling, meditation, nice, nice. Helping others, very good, very good. Meet goals, good, good. Goals, that also comes part of it. Personal prayer, yes. So going beyond oneself and having a connection, very good, very good. Kids, yes, yes. So it is not restricting to ourselves, but we are expanding ourselves. Good bath under a, oh, nice, nice. I think it is more of a mindful bath, right? Enjoying that bath, that itself can be so soothing, right? Enjoying and celebrating, yes, yes. Making social connections and enjoying. Listening to music, gardening, very good. Swimming, donations, yes. Doing acts of kindness, very good. Eating a good food, like, nice, nice. So we are happy that your husband is a very good cook also. That's really nice to hear that. I hope you would have told him that. You would have given up that comment to him. Probably you would have made him happy by telling that. Playing, yes. Yeah, nice. Okay, so a lot of activities are there which is making you feel happy, and that's what exactly is the part B, the voluntary part. Now, we are just moving from the concept of happiness to a little bigger one, which we call it as flourishing or well-being. As I was mentioning in the beginning of in the presentation or the session itself, I was telling you, happiness is just one component. Generally, happiness is only looking at the emotions, the experience of positive emotions. Generally, I'm telling, okay, people can have different meaning. But for easiness, we will be using the term happiness every time. Okay, but actually, we are going to refer to something called flourish or well-being. We have two options. One option is surviving, another one is thriving. Surviving, as I was mentioning, if you ask, yeah, okay, fine, doing well, okay, that's it. Thriving is where we are growing. We are growing as a person. What we need to do is that we need both. Many a times there is a polarization which happens. People either only look at the surviving or too much of thriving only, where they ignore or they don't pay attention to the surviving. We should have a balance of both. And we are going to discuss more of that thriving as part of this session. Okay. Is there a network problem? I hope I am audible to everyone. In case if it is not, please let me know. Okay.
Yeah, you're perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So flourishing has multiple components. It's not just happiness. It has got different components. And I'm very happy that most of you have already mentioned about different components in the flourishing part. For some people, it can be like doing well in studies, or I'm doing well in my career, well and good. That is their flourishing. For a few, it may be, yes, I'm doing well in my relationship. For others, maybe, yes, I earn a huge amount of money. That can be a flourishing for them. People have different components when they talk about flourishing. But scientifically, or the researchers show that when you talk about mental health, when you talk about mental well-being, if you are able to take care of these 5 components, then there is a better chance for you to feel good. Not just feeling good, you will be able to do well also. So to put it in a very simple way, it is like feeling good and doing well. Okay, that is a very simplest way of putting the well-being into place. Feeling good and doing well. And for that, you have 5 building blocks which you need to work on. Okay, so it is basically cultivating a better version of ourselves and living a meaningful life. If I just tell that, okay, yes, Jeeresh is this, that's it. Do I want to be that in that mediocre level of functioning? No. Is it like, okay, am I happy with this good? Not necessarily. If I have the potential to reach to the great, why don't I do that? Why can't cultivate these things and make myself a better version of Jeeresh maybe after 6 months? There is a scope. After 1 year, after 5 years, where do you want to see yourself? So that is what exactly these 5 components are going to help us all. Okay, not just you, it is helping me also. So the first thing, as I was mentioning, positive emotion. That is the first thing. Second thing is engagement. Third thing is relationship. And fourth is meaning. And fifth is the accomplishment. We'll just look at each component. And I'll also discuss a few activities which you can do as part of these things to cultivate this or build these components also. So don't think that only theory we will discuss and then we will move on. I'll try my level best to give a little bit of simple exercises which I can give you, not necessarily we will do right now, but you can do it at home. Positive emotion is something has more to do with the hedonistic approach. Okay. Probably a few of you are well versed with this philosophy of hedonism, eudaimonia, all those things. So hedonism is one of the oldest philosophical position, which used to tell that increasing the pleasure and minimizing the pain. So this was used to be the kind of approach we used to take in our life. I just want to avoid pain and just want to feel pleasure. But then, is it possible always like that? Can we avoid the pain always and always have only pleasure? Is it
No,
possible?
sir. No, 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 never.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So that's the reason we moved away from that hedonistic approach, and we have moved into eudaimonia, where I was telling about this mental health. Okay, we can't ignore negative emotion, but at the same time, we should also look at the positive emotions more. Okay, so this is positive emotion is one aspect of it. And one of the participants actually told that, why do I feel sad now? Probably because I was having an emotion from the past. So when we want to cultivate a positive emotion, we need to think it from three different perspectives. One is what all the things happened in the past that can make us feel sad. Sometimes it can make us happy also. So there can be a lot of resentment which is there from the past, which can make the person feel sad or not doing well in the present moment. So making some kind of compromises or healing the past is very, very important when it comes to positive experience of positive emotions. For that, I have mentioned the two things what you can do for healing your past. Maybe I'll talk more about it a little later, but for the time being, you should understand that there is something called being practicing gratitude, being happy or being thankful for something which has happened in the past. As I was mentioning, probably we are always looking at the negatives of the past, but there are a lot of positives that would have happened in the past, and being thankful for that can heal us a lot and make us feel or experience positive emotions in the present. Another thing is forgiveness. Forgiveness is something like probably we would have done something wrong to others, or somebody would have done something wrong to us. Do we need to forgive only people who come and ask our forgiveness or pay their apology? What do you think? What is your opinion? To whom we should forgive?
So usually, of course, usually we forgive to people who have done something wrong to us. But there are some situations where we have to forgive to people, though they don't ask, in order to console ourselves. That is for my well-being, not for them. But
Very good, ma'am. You are perfectly right in that. Okay. So since ma'am has already given the answer, I'm not going to ask more responses. Okay. That is what exactly. It is not necessary that we need to forgive to people only if they come and pay their apology, or they confess, or they ask you to forgive. Not necessarily. Forgiveness is a gift. Is it? Do we give gift to only people who deserve it? Can I get a little more responses? Because after taking classes with students, I have become a little paranoid that I generally get a feeling that people are not listening. Okay, and I
so,
feel that
so giving gift is so
talking to
easy.
the tab in front of me. So to avoid that, I would like to get some response. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
So giving gift is much easier than forgiving to
Yes,
people.
yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Gift, if you have money, you can give it to a number of people, but that's
yeah,
not the
yeah.
case with forgiveness.
Exactly. You are right. You're right. Not at all easy, especially if they have hurt us so much, and if they have caused a lot of damage to us, and not necessarily they have done. We also may do that sometimes, right? Okay. So, uh, gift is something is not given always for people who deserve it. We give gift for somebody who doesn't deserve also. The same concept is there when it comes to forgiveness. It is not that people who are rightful to get forgiven, we are giving it, not necessary.
So excuse
Even
me.
if yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, but I would just want to say that, like you rightly said, that
Yeah.
the gifts, you only give, you don't just go on distributing the gifts, you give to people who are close to you and who you feel are deserving, and
Yes,
you
ma'am.
really want to give from the bottom of your
Yes.
heart.
Mm.
And forgiveness, I think, is the same thing. I mean, however, I mean, you don't only forgive to those who are seeking forgiveness. If you have a really large heart, and if you're ready to forgive all those, or forget all those things that they have done, forgiveness, you can forgive, because it doesn't really, as Lynette has rightly said, it doesn't come easily. Forgiveness doesn't come easily.
You're right, right.
But I want to ask you a question, sir. How would you connect forgiveness and they say forget and forgive, or forgive and forget, or whatever it is. How do you relate that, sir? Because it would be easy to forgive, I think, sometimes, but forgetting is not going to be possible.
Okay.
So
Okay.
how would you connect that, if you
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. That's a wonderful question, ma'am. I would like to ask you one thing, or I rather than asking you, I'll tell you one simple things we used to tell. If we are asked to not think about something, generally what happens? We think more about it. Okay. So there is a story. I don't remember the story, so at least I can tell you the gist of it. It's like some king had a problem, and nobody was able to give a medicine for that, and there is no medicine at all. But then the doctor came and told the king, you take this medicine, but don't think of a white monkey when you take this medicine. Okay, so this was the advice given to the king. And probably what would have happened, ma'am? Can you guess what happened? What would have happened?
So every time he took the medicine, he thought of a white monkey.
Exactly, ma'am. That is what exactly. So generally what we say is that there is no point in we trying to avoid our experiences, or we try to run away from our problems. So forgetting is actively trying to forget, is almost like it is called as an experiential avoiding. I don't want to experience. The problem is that the more we try to avoid, the more we are getting into that loop or the spiral that is going down. Okay, so it is difficult. Okay, theoretically it is very difficult, like you told, and one of the other participants told, very difficult. Okay, but then generally this mindfulness practice which I have put in the present is something which helps us to avoid avoiding the experience. Okay, so that's how we relate. Okay, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir, and I think
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Am I audible?
the bottom line could yes, I think let time take its course, and let eventually one tends to forget it as time elapses, sir, as the
Yes,
memories
yes,
start fading off. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I do agree with you. At the same time, I would like to add one more point also, ma'am. Generally, sometimes people used to just leave it like that also, because they feel so helpless, which makes them suffer more. Okay, but we have an option of not suffering if we intervene also in between. So just giving that time course is also good, but wherever possible we can intervene also, so that instead of suffering for this many days, we may be able to shorten it and bring it to this one. Okay, so that way it is really good.
Yeah, so one more thing that has always
Yes.
been playing on my mind is there's something known as a closure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel every incident that happens with you, and if it's going to hurt you, there should be a closure, because when the wounds are bleeding, they hurt more, sir. So they have to be, they have to heal. So in relationships, closures are very important. So do you, because I have read a lot about it, and there are two views on that. Some say ki closure, the concept doesn't exist at all. There is nothing like closure. Okay. And sometimes people strongly agree that yes, there must be a closure to end one relationship, so that it's completely out of your system.
Yes.
So
Yes.
would you want to throw some light on that, sir?
Yeah, ma'am. So maybe I don't know. Maybe this is my perspective, and probably I gently tell in my clinical practice also. One thing is that why do we need a closure? That is for getting a certainty. Okay. In other words, if we tell that I'm not able to handle the uncertainty. Okay. So this is um, all of us wish that there is a certainty in most of the things which we take up, because that makes our life easier, right? Because we have a lot of predictions we can make. When I do that, okay, if I go and stand in the bus stop, I know that the bus will come at 3 o'clock. There is a certainty, there is no problem. But if I have an uncertainty like what we are experiencing, where Corona will go, lot of uncertainties are there. So sometimes what happens is that there are certain things which is not in our hand, and we don't have a choice of making a closure. If we have an option, we would have gone for a closure. But certain times, especially in relationships, the closure may have to come from the other person, the other side, and they may not do it. Okay, if they do it well and good, man. If we have a closure for things, it is always good. The problem is that sometimes situations doesn't go the way we want. There we will have to equip ourselves to handle the uncertainties, even if it is a relationship. I don't know what is going to happen, whether my wife is going to leave me, or my wife is going to come back, or my wife is going to file a divorce, whatever. I don't know. Okay. But the problem is maybe she's not making it clear also. But if I go and start asking also, it will be a problem. So what I do is that I just have to make myself a little more equipped to deal with the uncertainties. Okay, so this is, I hope this is the perspective I would like to take on that. Okay. Yeah. So can I move on, or any more responses or anything that you? Ma'am, I am not able to hear, ma'am.
Thank you for that, sir.
Okay,
Thanks.
okay, yeah. Okay. So that is about past, and about present. About present, we have a lot of opportunities. Savoring the moment. The moments which was happy, we bring it into the present and we cherish those moments. All of us know, like when things happen, when we go for some trips or anything, we click pictures. We go and buy souvenirs from them. That is true. That is actually savoring a moment, so that at some later point of time we are able to enjoy or cherish those moments. So that is savoring the moments which you can do in the present to make ourselves feel good. A little different concept, and not really going along with the savoring the moment, is mindfulness. Mindfulness is something, to put it very simple, will be being here and now without being judgmental. Okay. So we are not going to judge people. We are not going to judge the situation. We are not going to judge things, just experiencing it. Thus, here I would like more responses from you. Okay. Is it possible to live without judgment? So mindfulness is telling that being here and now without being judgmental. You just experience it. Don't judge it. This is what mindfulness is telling. Is it possible? Maybe a few of you are doing mindfulness also. Okay. So yes, Ruxana ma'am has told that no, very difficult to live without judgment. Okay.
Yes,
Others,
generally it's not possible, but it's the only way is that, as you said, mindfulness, to be conscious. But generally we are judgmental. That's what I believe human beings are. Everybody.
Okay. So mindfulness is telling that become non-judgmental. But can I tell that all of you are telling it is difficult to live without judgment? Since I got only 2 responses, I'm just generalizing it with very small sample. Okay. With very small sample, I'm generalizing a result, thinking that all of you tell that it is difficult to live without being judgmental. That is where I wanted to give to introduce just 2 concepts that may be helpful for you. Mindfulness is not really telling that you don't need to be judgmental. Mindfulness basically telling that don't become or don't use evaluative judgment. Evaluative judgment is something like categorizing things into good, bad, black, white. Okay, so it is putting into boxes. Good person, bad person. best husband, the worst husband can be wife also, not a problem. Okay. So this kind of categorization is more of an evaluative judgment. And all of us know that there is nothing absolutely good, nothing absolutely bad. Something good now may become bad. Something bad now may become good at the later point of time. So that's the reason mindfulness is telling that try and drop the evaluative judgment, but all of us should have a discriminative judgment. That is whether you are practicing mindfulness or you are not practicing mindfulness, you need to have a discriminative judgment. Discriminative judgment is thinking things in terms of consequences. It is not that I'm telling cannabis is bad. I'm telling that cannabis, if I take excessively or every time, every day, if I take, it can cause a lot of health problems for me. It can cause a motivation syndrome for me. It can interfere with my studies, my social relationship. So thinking in terms of consequences is what a discriminative judgment, and that is something which we should not drop. We have to drop more of evaluative judgment, and always we can't do that, right? When you go to a vegetable vendor, you saw some rotten tomato, you are not going to make like, okay, I'm not getting into evaluative judgment, I will only do discriminative judgment. So then I start thinking like, okay, if I take a rotten eggs, it will go into my stomach and it will create a lot of things, then I'll end up in the hospital. No need of 1 hour of thinking those kind of things. There are situations we'll have to get into evaluative judgment also, but try and make more of discriminative judgment rather than making or categorizing things into it was a bad day, it was a great day. No, not necessarily. Okay, sometimes we'll use, okay, when people ask, it is easy for us to communicate. Okay, but the moment you label something, it has got a lot of difficulties. That's the reason mindfulness is telling that just experience and don't try to categorize, which will help us in the present moment. One more point I'll discuss, and I think we'll take a break after that. Vandana ma'am, is there a break for?
Sir, if you want, you can give it for some 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Your choice.
Ma'am, I'm not able to hear, ma'am.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If you want, you can give some 5
No.
minutes break in between. No problem.
Actually, we
It's
don't
your
give, but
choice.
if you
Your choice.
Okay. Yeah. So then, yeah. Okay. About future. Future is something about hope. The hope and the optimism. Optimism is actually considered as the engine for resilience. Resilience is that anybody knows the term resilience? What does it mean?
The bounce back.
Very good, ma'am. Very simple thing. It's just bounce back to the normalcy after an adversity or an emotional difficulty. So all of us will be functioning in a line. When an adversity happens, we go down. We need to come back. So how fast we are able to come back, how easily we are able to come back, that actually says that it is resilient. Somebody who is optimistic in their life, that is something which is called as the engine for resilience. If you are very good optimistic person, there is a high chance you tend to bounce back easily. Okay, so all these things are going to help us in terms of experiencing positive emotions. I think we'll just take a 5 minutes break. Just 5 minutes only. After that, we'll resume. Is that okay with all of you?
Yes, sir. Fine. We can have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just 5 minutes only we'll take, so that we'll come back fast.
Yes.
I think
Kavita will do. Kavita will do.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So what is the limitation about only focusing on positive emotion, which we already discussed? So I'm not going to get into much details of that. But then the good news, we always have a good news, that mental health is not solely depend on our experience of positive emotion. Like I was mentioning, it is only one component. So I'm not going to talk more on that. Second component is engagement. So engagement is an experience in which someone fully deploys the skills, strengths, and attention for a challenging task. So we get into some challenging task and we take up that and we work on that. And what happens is that after some time, we forget everything around us. Okay. We forget everything around us and we get so engrossed. And if you ask the person, what do you feel? They will not tell that I was feeling happy, sad, nothing. They'll just tell that nothing. I was not feeling nothing, but I was so engrossed in that. And that experience is called as flow. And flow is a concept which was given by, you can read the name. It's called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Again, English teachers, if there are English teachers, please forgive me. I used to tell that in English, people put as many alphabets they want, and they will tell that H is silent, L is silent, Y is silent. Okay, they generally tell that. Okay, so it becomes very difficult. But then, if you see the name, it's very difficult. But actual pronunciation is just Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and he is a great positive psychologist. He came up with this concept of flow, and flow is where when your skill matches the challenge, you get into some activity where your skill is being challenged, and you know that with your set of skills you can do that, so you take up and you are doing it. There is a pursuit of a clear goal. You have a clear cut goal, what you want, and you are pursuing it, and there is an immediate feedback towards the progress. Each and every stage, you know, you are progressing. I still remember when I was doing my clinical practice, that time we generally use a lot of psychometric tests when we do diagnosis. So all this, some of the tests will have very complicated scoring. After the testing, you have to sit and score and make a report. The scoring itself may take around 1 hour to score itself. So one day I thought that I'm going to make an easy scoring system with an Excel sheet, where Excel is not, I don't know much about Excel sheet, but I started watching YouTube videos like that. And then slowly I started making this Excel sheet. A few of my friends, my colleagues that time, practitioners, they came and told me like, hey Jeeresh, why you are doing this? Already there is a software. Why can't you use that? Yes, softwares are there, but it is very expensive also. But then I felt that I have an interest and I have a little bit of set of skills, which I just have to fine tune and I have to do it. And you know, it is like I spend a lot of time and a lot of maybe days, and I sat and I made that. And if you ask me what I was feeling, I was not feeling anything that time. I was fully engrossed. And after that, I just gave the product to everyone. Without softwares, people are doing it. Okay, my friends are doing. So that is an experience where you feel that the time stops. Okay, so don't tell that when I go for shopping, time stops. Okay, shopping we don't consider under the experience of flow. I'll tell you why. There is no effort that is coming. Okay, there is no channelization of your strengths and skills, those kind of things. Okay, so we are not talking about activities which just takes away our time and we don't get aware about the time. Flow is an experience where you use your skill, your strengths, and then you are fully engrossed with it. And flow can be even, it can happen in a good conversation. It can be a work task which you are taking up, or playing a musical instrument. Somebody who is good in music, they will be playing gardening, reading a book, anything that involves your full concentration, your full self-awareness, your skills, that is flow. And let me tell you, if you take up such challenging task which matches your skill, definitely you will experience this flow, and probably most of you would have been experienced this flow, or all of you would have experienced this flow. You would have not noticed it, because the experience of flow is something which we retrospectively we become aware about. When it is happening, we are not aware about it. After some time, when we look back, so when you rewind your life, you will find out there are many situations you have gone through this positive experience of flow, and you can find out and start doing it to cultivate a better version of yourself and the mental health. Now getting into relationships. This is something which I think we don't need to explain more about it, right? This is like relationships, and it is the fundamental thing to our well-being, because we call ourselves as social animals only. We are above all the animals, but at the same time, we live in a society, and without interconnections, without a feeling of belongingness, it becomes very, very difficult for people to become what to say, mentally healthy. Okay, so that is a fundamental part of our well-being, building good relationships, because relationships amplifies the experiences that contribute to well-being. It actually amplifies us. You amplifies, it is like if we have this much, it becomes this much. Okay, I'm not talking about the problem, I'm talking about the happiness. Okay, the kind of well-being when we get connected to people, there is a lot of great joy, laughter, a feeling of belonging, and a pride in accomplishment of others, people who belong to us. Because I probably you would have experienced these things. Our parents would have gone and told, like, oh, my son is doing this, my daughter is doing this, and they feel so proud. We will go and tell that, okay, my father is this, my mother is this, my son is his daughter, because we feel that sense of well-being when we have a good connection, and that people with whom we are connected, when they achieve, we also get that happiness. Okay, so that way, having good relationships also become very, very essential when it comes to mental well-being, and it is an antidote to feeling down. So this is a covaxin or a covishield against our depression. Okay, I mean, covishield is for that. I'm just telling, this relationship is a vaccination, or gives a lot of immunity when it comes to when we go down in love in our life. Okay, so that is relationship. Then how you can develop this sense of relationship? One is I think two people have responded. Okay, so two participants were aptly responded that I will be giving things, or I will be helping. One participant told that I will make donations. True, all these things are the fundamental aspect of building relationships, not necessarily only with our close ones. It can be outside our close ones also. Okay, so doing random acts of, you can ask people. Okay, you can ask people who are finding it difficult in certain situations. You can go and ask them, what kind of help I can offer to you, something which is doable for you. Okay, so even it can be like somebody who is finding difficulty in finding a route. Okay, or somebody who has not who is having a difficulty in getting up and going and putting on the switching on the fan. Okay, simple things, an act which is a random act of kindness can build our relationship and our happiness. Sometimes people used to get confused between altruistic act and volunteering. Are there anyone who is volunteering for any organization or doing some kind of volunteering activity? Participants? Any participants? giving us, doing some kind of social service, social work? Anyone?
Yes,
I hope.
sir. Can I talk, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Sir, regarding social work, are we talking about? Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to share that I am a regular blood donor
Very
for
good.
last 20 years, and till now I have been donated 30 times. So
Okay.
I can say this is, I mean, type of social work which I am doing because I got inspiration from my father. He was a regular donor. So from that I got that.
And how do you feel, ma'am, after doing that?
Sir, it's a every day. I mean, I can tell you to maintain the hemoglobin level and all. So every day I ensure myself that not much iron content I am taking, and I will not lose the chance when I go to the blood donation camp. So or to the bank blood donor blood camp.
Okay.
Or, so I ensure that I will be fit and I will healthy, and after donation it's amazing. I mean, I get so much satisfaction that I have saved one life, and
Okay, great.
that
Great,
is
great. So you get that feeling, right? You get that kind of a feeling.
yes,
And
yes, sir.
if I can tell that this is not just an altruistic behavior, it is actually a volunteering, because altruistic behavior is more of one-time act. Then and there, something you are doing a help, which is an altruistic behavior. But volunteering is actually a planned helping behavior.
Yes.
Doing
Yes.
it in a sustained way. Okay. And with so much of dedication you are doing, ma'am. Seriously, ma'am, I that is really, I admire you for that, because
Yes, sir.
maximum I have given only 3 times. Okay. Still I have some fear
Yes,
when
I can
do
understand. Even I have missed the chance, no, for because I could not match that hemoglobin level. That is the only thing. I have been rejected. So I try to be in line for that.
Okay. Ma'am, I think in the next component you will be high. Okay.
Yes,
I will tell you. Okay. Yeah. So that is a difference. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So thank you for sharing also your experience. So this is one thing. Altruistic behavior is not just volunteering, because volunteering is a planned one, and you are planning to give time, and that sustained way you are trying to help people. Altruistic behavior is like maybe randomly it comes and it finishes off that time. Okay, so I would suggest that if you have that altruistic behavior, try and build it and make it a little more sustained one. In fact, my whole PhD was when I was doing, I was looking at the psychological well-being of people who were volunteering for different organizations, and how their personality changed over the time of their volunteering. That was my PhD thesis, and I found that it was like very nice experiences they used to tell. As a person, how they changed, how their perspectives changed, how their well-being changed. So people who were volunteering only for short term and who were volunteering for long term, there is a clear-cut distinction and drastic difference in terms of psychological well-being, life satisfaction. All these things were high for the long-term volunteers. Okay, so that is something which also we can take up to improve our well-being. Building strong relationships is central to adaptation, and when you are building the strong relationship, you should also know that whom you are choosing. Okay, somebody with whom you feel that connection, somebody who reciprocates it well, some with whom you have more confidence, more trust, that will help you. Okay, so that is something about relationship. Now, if we expand this relationship, then we have a meaning also. It can be derived from belonging to and serving something bigger than the self. Like Jyoti ma'am was sharing her experiences. She was trying to go beyond herself. It is not just about hers. She wanted to save people's life. That is one example I'm telling. Like that, all of you will be doing one or the other thing. So you are expanding beyond yourself. You are expanding your boundaries, and there is something out there with which you also feel a belongingness feeling. It can be a religion, your connection with a religion, where you get a sense of meaning as well as a sense of engagement also. It can be with a family. You're going beyond yourself and including your family. It can be science, politics, work organization, community, social causes. Okay, anything, anything beyond you and which can make you feel more, get a sense of well-being and connect yourself and make your life meaningful is something which can also enhance your well-being. Probably we would have heard about a term called trauma, right? Traumatic experiences. Traumatic experiences is something which we would have heard in our daily life also. I was traumatized. I was traumatized after the death of this person. I was traumatized after that accident. But even in that, the same thing you would have heard also, there are people who grow beyond this trauma, and we call it as post-traumatic growth. There was one parents, okay, not so recently, a little earlier I read about it. Their only son, he died. He was in military and he was died in a military operation. After that, these parents thought that they should go beyond their family and their son. They started doing things for the students or the children around their home. They started giving them educational support. They came out of that trauma of losing their son. There are many people after contracting with the cancer, they come out, they start educating about the cancer, and they give light to different people who are in darkness of this illness. So that is going beyond yourself and becoming one with the society also. And getting a meaning in life. What you are giving more importance in your life. Okay, so that is me. Then the last component is accomplishment. Accomplishment is people pursue achievement, competence, success, and mastery for its own sake in a variety of domains, including workplace, sports, games, hobbies, etc. This accomplishment is a little different. The difference is that you are not really bothered about what outcome it is going to give you. You are not really bothered like where you are going to reach. No. I don't know how many, probably a few of you will be knowing a concept called lingerers and non-lingerers. This is a concept which is taken into psychology from Bhagavad Gita. Lingerers and non-lingerers. Lingerers are somebody who is always looking for the outcome, or they become obsessed with the outcome. And what happens is that many a times outcomes are not in our hand, right? Even if you have written a very good paper, is there a guarantee that it will be accepted by the journal? Not necessarily. At least my experience also says, I don't think that I have written a great article. Okay, but then at least a very good article, I feel. Not necessarily it gets that outcome which I wanted will be there. I may not get first rank even if I sit and study for a whole night. Not necessarily. It depends on many factors. So outcome is something which is always not in our hand. And lingerers, what happens is that they get into despair very fast, because when they are not able to reach to that kind of outcome. So what even Bhagavad Gita was telling, and we have taken that also concept into psychology, especially positive psychology, non-lingerers, someone who is enjoying the process of it. Okay, not necessarily I will become a six-pack after 6 months, but I may be enjoying the process of doing exercise. Not necessarily that I will be, my paper may get published in the journal I wanted, but I am experiencing each and every process of conceptualizing the study, collecting the data, analysis, like that. Okay, so we do certain things and we accomplish that also. So it's a component of engagement. All these things will come in the accomplishment. This is something also which contributes to our mental health. Is there anything that you want to add or ask till now? So I have spoken about the components of mental well-being, and we are expanding the term happiness. Okay. Yeah. Anything that you want to add or ask me till here? We have a social one chat I saw. Okay. Yeah, social clubs. That's also will be very helpful. That also very helpful for students. Okay, for cultivating that kind of. Okay, fine. I think there is no doubt. We'll move on, and then I can give a few minutes for you to clarify on the doubt. Benefits of mental well-being. I'm not getting into the explanation. Very simple way. We can just read it out. It helps. It will help you to perform better at work, have more satisfying relationships, are more cooperative. People who are in their well-being. Okay, it's common sense, right? Somebody who is in a bad mood, generally they don't get along well with people. Have stronger immune system. This is very important. There is something called psychoneuroimmunology. Okay, how your psyche or your psychological behavior and state influences your immune system itself. It can give immunity towards many things, including cancer. Okay, I'm not telling you people will not get cancer when they are mental, but the chances are very less. So psychoneuroimmunology, we call it. It gives a stronger immune system, better physical health, live longer. Somebody who wants to live longer can think of mental well-being. Have reduced cardiovascular mortality. Yes, our heart will be good, both physically and psychologically. Generally, we think all positive emotions are in the heart, though it is in our brain. So we tell no, his heart is good. So physically and psychologically, our heart will be good. And fewer sleep problems, sleep issues. It's a major one. When it gets affected, our mood gets affected, our days get affected. How have lower levels of burnout? When we do things over and over, it can reduce our pleasant feeling. That also can be reduced. Have greater self-control, have better self-regulation and coping abilities, are more pro-social. Okay, we become more helpful. I have a few more points, and with that I think we can wind up also. These are a few techniques that you can do for building your mental well-being. This is not an exhaustive list. Okay, you have many things to do, but this is just simple things I am giving you. One is practicing gratitude. This I would suggest all of you to use. Maybe you can do it for 2 weeks and find out the result. Okay, generally in our clinical practice, we used to tell people who come for de-addiction. Okay, when they come, a few people, when they are willing, we tell them, go for a sobriety sampling. Sobriety sampling means just be away from the substance, the drug which you are taking, whether it's alcohol, cannabis, or LSD, whatever. Just be away from it for 1 week and see how the life is when you are sober. So sobriety sampling, we tell that. Similar kind of thing only I'm suggesting you. Just do this for 2 weeks and then find the result. If it is working for you, please continue to do it. So what you need to do is that you need to set aside just 10 to 20 minutes a day before going to bed. Think over the following. There are many things in our life, both large and small, that we might be grateful for. Think back over the past day and write down 5 things in your life that you are grateful for. Okay, so this is one exercise that you can do every day. Every day before you go to bed, just think what went right during that day. Just note it down. Do it for continuously for 2 weeks. Then you can take a decision whether you want to continue this practice or not. Okay, so that is one. Then forgiving oneself and others. This is another important thing that all of us should do, because there are many things which we are not able to forgive ourselves, right? We may tell that I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. In the past, why did I do that? This is something which I guess almost all of us would have experienced such thing. And we are not able to let it go. We are not able to forgive ourselves for that. But acknowledge that we are also not that we are errorless person. Okay, we need to acknowledge that and forgive ourselves. Forgive to other person. One way of doing is just writing it down in a piece of paper, telling that what he or she has done to you. And then you are telling that now onwards, I forgive you and I'm not going to take this into the heart, and feel for that that kind of transgression which you have done for. Okay. If the person is asking for apology, you can post it to that person. Otherwise, don't post it. Okay. If they have not asked for apology and you are giving a forgiveness letter to them directly, it may backfire and it can cause more transgressions. You can just keep it with you, or you can destroy it. Okay, so that is one thing about forgiveness. Then savoring the moment, which I already told, but how you can do is that set aside the 5 minutes a day for 1 week. This you can try and see. After that, just think of something positive, something good that is happening right now, a pleasant memory or something positive that will happen in the future. Just think about it. Okay. And after thinking about it or bringing that into your consciousness, just try and find out what is it about the experience that you find so enjoyable in that. So in that memory, what is that is making that memory happiness or that memory enjoyable? Just try and find out the components of it. Okay, so notice the positive feelings that occur when you think about the experience. The kind of feelings, the positive feelings like amusement, interest, excitement, contentment. Okay, so those kind of things, if you can think of, bring back those memories and associated feelings also, if you can think of, that can make you feel better. Okay. Take a moment to appreciate the experience. Think about how special the experience is and how grateful you are for it. Okay. If I generally do it for myself. I always tell my parents and my friends that I went for a trip to Coorg, one of my friends' home. As a group, we went, and till date, maybe in the future it can change. Till date, that is the most beautiful moments in my life. And when I bring back those kind of memories, I still remember. I can actually feel the water that was flowing under my foot. I mean feet. Okay, so that the chillness of that water in the waterfall where I was taking bath or I was sitting, and the nature around. Okay, so such kind of things may be very simple, but there is some kind of fruit was there. I forgot the name, and the taste of that. Okay, I still can get that kind of a taste, and which makes me feel good. I know because of Corona I can't travel, but I still cherish my moments. I savor that moment. This is another technique which you can think of. Of course, mindfulness. Mindfulness is something which we discuss. Mindfulness is actually a practice, or it can become a meditation. Mindfulness practice basically means if you are doing it wherever you are and whenever you become mindful or when you want to do it. Mindfulness meditation is like you keeping aside a time and you sit and do it, sit or stand and do that kind of a practice. Mindfulness practice, you can again, even in your simple activities, you can become mindful. When you are eating, the taste of it, generally what happens? Generally, sometimes, I don't know whether it is happening with you all, when eating only, we'll be scrolling. So one behavior becomes an autopilot. Okay, so I'll be scrolling the mobile. Okay, I'll be scrolling. And so what happens is that I lose the chance of enjoying that experience of that food, the taste of that food, the flavor of that food, the smell of that food. All these things will give us a lot of mental well-being, and we need to become mindful. Practice random acts of kindness, which already discussed. Build optimism. I was mentioning that optimism is the engine for the resilience. And one way of doing it is like write a life summary by assuming that we are happy and prosperous in life. Okay. Even if you have a difference of opinion, just imagine that your life is going in a very happy manner and it is going in a prosperous way. Just imagine that and write a life summary with that. That also will help you to build optimism and thereby your mental well-being also. Okay. Um, use your strengths. You can have realized strengths. You have some strength means something which you are good at and something which you are enjoying. You can have unrealized strength, something which you are good at but you don't know about it. Okay, so try and find out. You ask people and try and find out and use those strengths, which will be helpful. Sometimes we get preoccupied with weaknesses. Okay, we get preoccupied with weaknesses. Weakness is something which you are not good at and something which you are not enjoying. There is something called learned behavior. Learned behavior is that something which you are good at but you are not enjoying. Okay, so for example, like if you are very good in singing, every time when there is a program, they will call, we have a program, please come and sing a song for a prayer song. So sometimes you are not in a good mood to sing. Okay, but you are pulled in, but you are good at, but you are not enjoying. Okay, so sometimes this also can happen. Learned behavior can happen. Weakness, we spend more time on fixing our weaknesses. Try and reduce the time for those things and increase your time for practicing your strengths and your unrealized strength, realized and unrealized strength. That can give you a lot of energy. So that is another way of building this one. And I think with this, yeah, just the slide, setting realistic goals in life and pursuing. Okay, this is very, very important. Our goals should be realistic. I don't have to tell you people about it, so I am not going into any more explanation. Setting realistic goals will help us to and pursue it. It will also help. And there is something called creating a happiness portfolio. Sometimes you would have heard about a modeling portfolio. I stand in different positions, right? And then I click the pictures and I keep it in an album. Same way, make an album of things which makes you happy. It can be the picture of your kid, can be the picture of your husband, it can be a picture of your friend, mother, father, whoever, brother, sister, whoever, can be that. It can be a gift, maybe a necklace which was given to you by someone who is close to you. Can be anything. Making a happiness portfolio, keeping things which makes you happy as a handy thing, and keep it in your house or and something which you can carry, keep it with you. And that is your happiness portfolio. Whenever you feel that you are going down, take it, spend some time, cherish the moment, go through it and experience that. Okay, so these are some of the simple things. Okay, though it is simple, but I can tell these are powerful. Okay, so the powerful techniques simple things which you can give as a trial. Okay, as a trial you can do that and see if it is working for you. If it is working, you can do it more and more. I think here I will stop. Okay, we have yeah, we can have more clarifications, and anything that you want to add also you can add. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving me that appreciation, and it is increasing my well-being. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Very good information we got.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good insights of the presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. In fact, I had on stress management, but I don't think that is not necessary here, because again, that is about fixing our difficulties. Maybe some other time we can think of later. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
If you have any questions, maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions. The feedback link has been shared in the chat box. You can start giving your feedback, and if you have any questions, you may ask. Maybe we can take a few questions, right, Dr. Jeeresh?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. If they have any clarifications, we can do that.
So you see that very good comments are there in the comment box.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, my thank you slide was I kept it as 72 it was. Okay. So thank you to all. Okay. I stopped at 23 or something slide. Okay. And it was in 72. So okay. So thank you, ma'am. And I should thank Vandana ma'am for giving me this opportunity, and all the staff from MBA department. And I think Kavita ma'am has coordinated it also. Okay. So thank you for, thank you both, and the whole department. And thank to all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jeeresh. That was a very insightful and knowledgeable session. I also thoroughly enjoyed, and your tips are well taken. Actually, you know, the flow of the content was so good. It was so well structured, and with a lot of patience, you explained every point, everything. You were very patient, and then with a lot of examples which we can relate. And certain things are like you know, it's very common, and it is some we can feel when you say, we can visualize, and we are able to, you know, think about it practically. And I hope that the participants also had a good learning, and it would have been very insightful. I hope you had immense learning from the session. It was an absolute pleasure listening to you, Dr. Jeeresh. Thank you so much for your efforts.
Tomorrow, do we have any session? Tomorrow, do we have any session?
Yes, we will have from 9:30 as usual. In the afternoon, we'll try to finish it a little early.
Okay.
Ma'am,
and
can
exam will be at 4:30. You will conduct, or
yes, Dr. Jeeresh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exam you will conduct, madam, or
thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes, some questions.
Exam will you conduct, or they conduct, madam?
We will be conducting. We will be organizing. We will be sending you a link of. It will be you will be having the link. You can go into it and then answer those questions.
Tomorrow, how many sessions, ma'am?
Tomorrow also there are 3 sessions as usual, but since it's a restricted
morning
holiday,
sessions are highly difficult actually to attend. We will try our level best. We'll try our level best to attend.
Okay, because of Ganesh Chaturthi, I guess.
Yeah, Ganesh, and 9:30 is the puja time actually.
Oh.
9:30 to 1:30 totally busy actually, but we have to balance both.
Yes.
There is a suggestion you
yeah,
can take
thank
it.
you, madam. Thank you.
Like, you know, most.
But never we expected that on the festival day, this, because all places 9:30 to 1, it is totally packed up, everyone. That is the actual time.
Since it was a restricted holiday, as well as AICT also accepted, and there are around 44 FDPs going on. So we said it may not be wise to postpone the thing.
Ma'am, may I say something?
Yes, Dr. Kavita.
Ma'am, actually, you know, I just want to give you a suggestion. Like we have, I'm also a part of AICT body for conducting various sessions. So what we generally do, ma'am, that like on this particular situation, when there's a festival or there will be a lot of other issues related to the religion, so we can extend 2 hours for the test, and you can close down the test after 2 hours. So anybody has a facility like they are in transit or they are moving, so they will complete the test if you don't, if you feel it more convenient.
Yes, we will extend it for 2 hours. Don't worry.
Yeah, so that's, you know, 2 to 3 hours, ma'am, you can extend it, or you can start the test after any time a person opens, and the due time of closing would be as decided by you.
Yes. We will be giving you ample amount of time, and I think only one attempt, but ample amount of time will be given. 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, ma'am, that would be so good. Yeah.
At what time the test tomorrow?
After 4:30. So 4:30 to you can. This will be open. This will be open till 8 o'clock. Don't worry. 4:30. After 4:30, we will open the test. Then it will be there till 8 o'clock.
Do we get an intimation beforehand, like 4 o'clock?
Yes, because we'll be having a close.
In the group, madam, not in chat box. In the group you give, in the WhatsApp group, information about the
information test. We will give you. Definitely we'll give you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Ma'am, on request, ma'am, tomorrow alone, kindly send the feedback link to the WhatsApp group also, please.
Yeah, please, madam. That is right. One more thing.
Tomorrow, please. Because sometimes network issue due to some festival. Please, ma'am. We are at home. When we are at office, okay.
Okay.
Madam, tomorrow, please send it to WhatsApp group. Tomorrow, only one day we are requesting you.
But we can't.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, are you going to send the link of exam on WhatsApp also? Please, ma'am.
Yeah, exam link, ma'am. WhatsApp, if you send only alert. Otherwise, send it to mail.
Or you can send on mail, ma'am. Other than this chat box.
That's better.
I will mail.
Otherwise,
yes.
Yeah, ma'am. Sure, you can mail us.
And very well organized, ma'am, from your college. And
thank you so much,
hope from our college, we request you an FDP if possible. I'll talk to my principal. Once the academic year starts, we request you an FDP program, madam.
Sure. We will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And tomorrow alone, I will mail you the test link as well as the
feedback link.
Yeah, I will be having sessions. See that to the maximum you try to attend
right? Because very good, useful sessions. I understand.
Yeah, all are useful sessions.
I understand, but then try to attend the maximum.
But it is the peak time, 9:30 to 1:30, where entirely we will be into puja and other things. You know at home how it will be.
I don't think.
Fine, sir. Tirumala, sir. Even afternoon we have a session, right?
Yeah,
that you try to attend it. At the end only we are going to have this assessment. Okay.
Yeah.
So no worries.
And no feedback, at least in WhatsApp groups, if you put, that will be fine.
Yes, sir. But because without attending, there is no meaning in filling the feedback alone.
No, I'll attend. I'll be keep on listening. Nothing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
okay,
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we'll have the feedback for some more time, no, Kavita?
Hope all of them have filled it.
Have you all filled it? Once again, I'm sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Morning again, joined by 9:25. We have 2 sessions in the morning and afternoon 1 session. But we'll see that maybe we can.
Afternoon, I'll try to finish. It's my session, so I'll finish it.
Because Vandana has 2 sessions, right, Dr. Vandana? You are having 2 sessions tomorrow and Paramanandam sir 1 session.
So we'll try to wind up a little early so that you can, relax. It's a holiday. I understand. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Happy
See you all.